Common sense isn't gone. It just needs a comeback. Common Sense Superheroes with David and Greg.
What's up? Episode 43, Gregory. 43. I am your host, David, and across from me is the bearded one, Greg Miller. It has been a rough couple weeks, to say the least. We've had a little bit of an absence. I cannot confirm or deny that we went to a certain wedding at Madison Square Garden. So don't ask us about it, okay? There's some NDAs that we signed. But we had an adventurous week. But before we get into all that, Greg, number 43. I have a 43 in mind. It's a little different, but I'll let you go ahead and throw one of your 43s out there.
Well, as always, David, I'm not gonna abide by your life's rules. I'm gonna go by my own. I'm gonna throw you two number 43s, and
Okay.
I'm gonna issue a challenge to our followers and our listeners. There's a common theme with the two number 43s when I think about it. One of them is the king of auto racing, Richard Petty. And the other was
Ooh.
Oakland A's closer, Dennis Eckersley. Now, they both had
Oh.
one infamous thing in common, and that's it. They rocked a serious mustache. David, if we can get 200 views across Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcast on this episode, I will be rocking a straight stash and no other facial hair for the next show.
It is funny you say that because I have shaved my beard somewhat into a pretty scraggly looking goatee, and I was this close to taking off just the gray part of my goatee because hell, that might make me look younger if I don't. And I watched Maverick not long ago, so I may do it regardless, but I'm with that challenge. So let's get Gregory, the bearded one, into Gregory, the mustache one. Let's make that happen.
I'm fairly confident in saying this part of my face hadn't seen a clean shave in probably 4 or 5 years. I've been rocking the beard pretty solid for a while now, but if we can get the engagement that we want on this one, so the 15 or 20 people that do listen to this crap every week, y'all share this. If we can get 200 engagements across all three of the major platforms, I will rock a straight stash from here for a while.
You heard it here. I would love to see that. I would love to have witnessed that. And maybe
Hot young wife has not agreed to this yet, though.
She's not pumped on it. That's fine. But, there's a lot that she's done that she may not agree with. But good 43s there with the king, Richard Petty, and with Dennis Eckersley, the king of the closer up until one Mariano Rivera. You went back-to-back closers in this last couple episodes. I had to go a different route. I've done this one other time before, and I'm going to do it again here. And that is I went from sports figures to presidents, and his birthday was yesterday. He turned some 80 years old, and that is one George W. Bush, the 43rd president of the United States. History may not be kind looking back when it comes to the war stuff, but I think there's without a question he is a good and decent man, and there has been not one even remotely close to a better first pitch thrown out than when he went out in Yankee Stadium in the World Series after September 11th and threw a strike right down the middle to just everybody was screaming America. That was the best first pitch they will ever be, without question, no doubt, hands down.
You're 100% right. That was one of those iconic and defining moments of our generation's life. Like right after 9/11, like the balls to just get out there and do it. It had to be loaded with bulletproof vests and all kind of stuff. So they didn't have any kind of wind up and throw that pitch. And he brought it up there pretty darn good. I'll tell you, and I got mixed feelings on W. On one hand, I unequivocally think that guy gets a bad rap. They make fun of him for being some sort of retard or some sort of dummy. That dude's a sharp guy from an image and from a presentation standpoint. I think he's a lot of what we would want as a president. And then when you look at, the recent history, I mean, I don't know how you can talk bad about W when we've had Obamas and Clintons and Bidens in the mix. I mean, W was a saint compared to those. Now, the Iraq stuff was, I mean, I don't think you could put that all at his feet because that's just par for the course for 90% of the politicians these days. Whoever's in the office is going to get involved with some shit somewhere over there.
In the Middle East, you're right. That's sadly a case. And the ones who didn't because it was political. They were worried about the political ramifications, which I've said before that I wish we'd have waited until after the midterms for that. But Bush, yes, he does get a bad rep, and I think he's deep down a really good man, and he's a good and decent man. And I was glad that he was in office. Imagine if Al Gore was in office after September 11th. I mean, I would not have the same feeling of security knowing that Al Gore was in office.
No, and I think, I think to some degree, as history and as time continues to march on, I think we're going to look back at W almost kind of as the end of a political era, because after his presidency, when Obama took over, and to go from Obama to Trump to Biden back to Trump, I mean, at least the 30 or 40 years preceding that, there wasn't all this turmoil, there wasn't all this hatred, this division wasn't there. And I think W was the last time we had somebody in charge where whether you voted for him or agreed with him, it wasn't like the other side was the enemy. And it's been that way ever since Barry took over in 2008.
There was a political divide that took place right after him, and you could blame it on the war, perhaps. But like I said, thankfully Gore was not in office, and if we remember correctly, W, not my president, the old voter fraud that they called it, came to say that we invented, was taking place back then. The hanging chads down in Florida that they blamed and said that old Jed had something to do with it. Jeb, brother. So this whole like blaming political voter fraud and all this stuff not and not accepting somebody as your president, that didn't start with us. That didn't start with us. That started with y'all. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, we don't need to go down the lane of hypocrisy, David. That's part of every episode. I'm sure we'll naturally find our way there at some point, but we're not going to talk about it from the 2000 election.
We will. We got a lot of topics to get to. We'll try to work on it quickly to try to get caught up and try to get back on a regular scheme of things, or schedule rather is what I was trying to say. But about 2 weeks ago, Greg, I was Tuesday, as a matter of fact, 2 weeks ago to the day, I was waiting. I had some guy over here, that friend of mine that was working on the AC, good friend Max, that was over here trying to get me back with some cool AC. And I was sitting there waiting on baseball practice to start up, all-star practice. And my boy was out there. One of his friends had done a wheelie. And then Barrett, my middle boy, said, let me show you what I can do. And he hopped on his bike, pulled a wheelie, and just pulled just a little bit too far. And boom, just like that, fell on over. Somehow or another hit his kneecap to where it looked very scary. I thought it was dislocated. I thought this is one of the worst dislocations I've ever seen. It was horrible. Anyways, long story short, I might go into details on a front porch with David. He ended up fracturing his patella to the point where he ended up having to have surgery. It shot up. It was a bad thing, but he's overcoming it really, really well. He's doing very good. He hardly had any fear that day. I was very proud of him. Ended his baseball for this season, but the next day, as I was, posting it and everybody was sending us like, oh my God, how's Barrett? How's he doing? We're sitting around the house and I'm like, man, Barrett, you feel depressed. And I get a text message from somebody saying, how's Barrett doing? I was like, oh, this is nice of this guy to reach out and ask about my son, how he's doing. I was like, went through the whole spiel. He's doing great, blah, blah, blah. He's like, well, take a look at this. And I got a picture sent to me of somebody in a hospital gown with a shoulder that was popped up, not very pretty looking, dislocated, separated. I don't know which one it was, but it looked like a painful scenario. And that was one Greg Miller. Greg, the people want to know what happened. Did we forget we were old?
Well, in a nutshell, my man, a mere few hours after Barrett popped a wheelie and fractured his patella, I ended my softball career. Yeah, we managed to little co-ed adult league softball Tuesday evening, 2 weeks ago today, in fact. And well, we used to, when you lay out in your 20s, you kind of hit the ground and you just kind of slide across, or maybe you roll a little. Well, nowadays you just kind of thud, and I thudded right on this shoulder, dislocated and fractured right shoulder. Got all doped up and they popped it back in the emergency room. There was a point, and I don't know how familiar you are with Macon these days. It's gotten a lot better, but downtown Macon's still a pretty sketchy place. But at 4:30 a.m. downtown in Macon, this dude was walking around with no shirt on and softball cleats. So I don't know that the crackheads wouldn't have been more scared of me than I was of them at that point. But at that point, I was feeling pretty good because I was so doped up on morphine. They popped it back into place. I got to follow up on Thursday, and I'm absolutely terrified. I haven't moved this shoulder in 2 weeks. And
Ooh.
even the thought of it, I just feel like everything's going to pop and crackle and just be crunchy as hell. And I am terrified that something's wrong inside when they fixed it the short way. I think we're going to be having surgery here shortly.
Well, let's hope not. But we did end up having to have surgery for Barrett, and it went as well as can be so far. We got to follow up tomorrow, but he's already moving around really well. Got jam up on crutches. He's get his crutch game's on point, but now he's actually putting some weight on it. So healing a lot faster than you and I would. You and
Yeah,
I
I was
would for
fixing to say,
sure.
I certainly hate that he got hurt, but God, I'd give anything to trade ages with him for the recovery process.
Yes, they said 3 to 6 months for he's back to complete normalcy, but I'm thinking it's going to be on the lower end, but we'll see. But Greg, yeah, there's a TikTok or one of those little Instagram whatever reels that are going around about people thinking you forgetting you're 40 years old or whatnot, and it shows them just jumping down off a small thing, and they turn into ghost like, and they turn around and that person's laid out almost dead on there. I feel like that was the case with you, where you forgot for a second. You're like, oh, look at me, I made the play. And you look back and you see yourself laid down in pain. You're like, how did this happen?
I mean, it's funny how often in life things tend to, especially things like that, tend to kind of happen in slow motion.
Yes.
Like as it was happening, I was thinking to myself, well, this might not be the smartest thing in the world, but I was also reminding myself, I go, you have done this exact move 500 times over the course of your playing career. You know what you're doing. You know how to land correctly. And I was wrong. Now, I could blame the field conditions, all the humps and mounds make it hard to just slide. But the truth is, I think I lost my balance and didn't fall the way I should have, and I landed. I mean, and I knew instantly. Now, for something that I have seen happen and never experienced, I was kind of always questioning, man, what's it feel like? Now, I get it, it hurts like hell. I don't know what sort of superheroes they show on TV where they just pop it back in and go right about their business. No, no, no. Now we had two nurses at the field, and so I'm sitting there, and they're going, well, I think we can pop it back in here and save you an emergency room trip. So I'm like, all right. So I'm biting down on my glove. And so they're trying to force that thing back in. And after about 30 seconds of, I can only describe it as pain that will really make you question whether you want to live or not. They said, well, I don't think it's going to go back in. You need to go to the emergency room. So we did. And after a few hours in the emergency room, they finally gave me the good stuff, knocked me out, and then reset it. But it feels like inside, you know how you just tell when something's not right. I feel like after 2 weeks, it should be feeling better than it is, which I think means either something got caught up in there or whatever when it was dislocated, and they may have to go clean some stuff up.
Well, it's definitely scary. You're scared to use it more than anything. When I tore my Achilles, obviously it was in bad shape and it hurt. But even today, I'm scared to just take off running. I
Mhm.
fear that happening again and taking place because it's like you said, it's a pain. It's not only just a pain as far as physically, but you're like, I got to be able to move and do things in my life. I'm a man, okay? Like I got to be able to protect my kids, protect my wife, or whatever. When you feel like you're a hindrance, it's depressing. It'll mess with your brain a little bit. And I'm assuming, when you can't raise your arm up, it kind of feels the same way.
Well, I can tell you as someone who, I don't profess to have a whole lot of redeeming qualities, but being physically gifted was always one of them. I am 100% right hand dominant. I don't mean this as an ugly or sexist way. My right hand is almost elite level athletically. My left is about like a 12-year-old girl, and she may be borderline retarded at that. It's just not good. And for 2 weeks, I have not been able to lift my right arm. I am doing everything left-handed, and it is not pretty, dude. I've had so much food running down my chin and down my shirt, like it's just nuts. Try to use a spoon and eat some soup with your offhand. No, it ain't good.
It is. I'm actually a little bit ambidextrous with a lot of things because I write left-handed and do a lot of things left-handed, but I bat right-handed, throw right-handed. So I'm one of those weird ones. And my son, my oldest boy, is the exact opposite in that scenario. He does a lot of things right-handed, but throws and bats left-handed. And in fact, Barrett and my older boy Lawton, they were on the same All-Star team, and Lawton ended up injuring his shoulder trying to throw a football at a kid in his face. I don't know what happened, but he ended up hurting his shoulder to where he couldn't throw. So, and then he got in the game one time, and we were just going to let him play first. I was like, just don't throw and just figure something out. Well, he ended up, it came a play at home, and he instinctually picked it up and threw it home, and it hurt it even worse to where he couldn't even bat at that point. So he ended up not being able to play. So we took him out of All Stars and picked somebody else up. and then Barrett ended up getting hurt, and it was too late in the game to try to find somebody to replace Barrett and Lawton. So I was like, Lawton, you're gonna have to tough it up, buddy. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to go back in and figure something out. And he did, and he ended up having a play again where you get the ball at first, guys running second, starts heading to third or heading home. Well, he gets the ball at first, and he looks, and he Jim Abbott style grabbed it, switched hands, and threw with his opposite hand, which in his case is the right hand. And it looked pretty weak, like you said. He looked like a handicapped little girl throwing the ball, but he almost got it. But I was very happy that he ended up not hurting his shoulder. But doing something with your opposite hand, which is very tough, but they say try, brushing your teeth with your other hand or writing your name with your other hand is a good thing that triggers your brain and helps your brain. Like, I don't know if it fights off dementia or not, but it actually works a different part of your brain. So try that and see how you like it. It's tough.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of daily activities that one takes for granted normally, but when you start trying to do them with the other hand, like you said, brushing your teeth, wiping your butt, eating, I mean,
I was
it's
about to
all a
say,
challenge.
I hope you got a bidet or one on the way if that's the case, because that's going to be, if you do have to have surgery, because you don't want your woman to see that. You better go get a bidet, dog. Something big. Anyways, over the week, that's the reason for our absence over the last couple of weeks. But while we've been gone, a lot of things have taken place. We'll try to do a quick recap up and try to catch up from later shows. But the semi-quincentennial, Greg, 250. America turned 250 years old. I can't say it went off without a hitch because there was a bit of a hitch. We had some weather issues around the Capitol. But from what I did see, they took to it and made it happen. And boy, a fireworks show. Wow.
Yeah, I saw a post on X, and I can't give credit to the right person because I forgot who it was, but it was that video of, and that was just simply breathtaking. It was an amazing visual, and the caption was, imagine how pissed off you have to be to like, and how wrong you must be to get mad about this, like the hatred
Yes.
and like, man, it's just craziness on the other side. But no, the hope was, and maybe we'll get a little spin off from the effects over the weekend. Let's rebrand in some patriotism, man. We should love this country. We should be proud of this country. All the people on the left who are trying to tear everything down, talk about how bad this place is. I don't understand the logic. Like they fight about the immigration issue, but there's a reason why everybody in the world wants to come here. And there's a reason why all the people who say this place sucks and needs to change don't want to leave. That's common sense. That's what this show is all about. So to the lefties who want to hate on the fireworks, hate on everything, look, I'm going to always be proud to be an American. I'm always going to realize that I am very lucky to have been born here and not somewhere else. And I think that's the attitude we should all embrace, whether it's this big anniversary or whether it's just another Tuesday in July. I don't care. We should all be proud of this place.
Well, with the injury to Barrett, and we had some other things going on, it's like God's testing me. He's like, I prayed God for some things, and He was like, I'm just gonna make you tougher. I'm gonna put you through challenges and make you tougher. So with all that going on, I didn't get the whole follow up watch a whole lot of news or anything like that. Not my normal CNN watching, Greg. So I don't recall a whole ton of hate from the left coming in on this whole semi-quincentennial thing on America as much as I expected it to be. But that could totally be because I haven't been on X as much as I should to see all that stuff. But there was some hate. Obviously, that's going to happen. But I'm with you. I don't know how you can have such hate in your heart for a place that, like, everybody wants to be here. And we'll get into take this into the World Cup stuff. Everybody that's coming over for the World Cup from different countries and all that, the TikTok videos of them just going absolutely nuts about how much they love America, how friendly, especially the South is, and how they're like, what are we missing here? Like, this is the best thing ever. The one's trying barbecue for the first time, brisket. Everybody's being super nice. It's a great place. It's a loving place. I don't get it. I'm with you.
Well, and it just goes to show how much the worldwide media paints us in a bad light, and not just a bad light, but an inaccurate and untrue light. I give credit to all the folks from around the world who have come here because at least they've shown the open-mindedness to show up here and then go, hey, this isn't what we thought it was. The other side is still trying to live in the lie and pretend like all those things are true. That's the issue. Like I said, it comes down, and it's every one of my personal podcasts and every time we do a show together, it comes down to it's just the alternate realities. Like so many of us, and now clearly so many people from all over the world are coming here and seeing what America really is it just makes it harder and harder to understand why the other party seems to hate it so much and why they just want to tear everything down.
Well, people were we talked about it earlier in a past episode about how people were going around saying their team algae. They were rooting for the reflecting pool to have issues with it, and I don't understand that at all
Dude,
because it's a
I can't tell
Lincoln
you how many,
reflecting pool.
can't tell you how many people I saw on X that were rooting for Belgium last night.
Yeah, it's a shame, ain't it? That's a damn shame. But I don't understand this whole beautification of Washington, D.C. You would want the Capitol to look great. You want it to be the shining city on a hill, so to speak. You want it to be a beacon of light. So I don't get the hate and rooting for the reflecting pool to have issues, which seems to be the case. I love it. Even Obama put $34 million towards it. Okay, good. I think you should. You should want that thing to look good, especially when it's somebody such as Lincoln. I mean, it's the Lincoln reflecting pool. I get he's a Republican, but can we not still? He did some good things. Can we not have a example of what Lincoln did and having a great reflecting pool? But
I mean, I keep coming back to, and again, it's another one of those sayings. I can't recall who said it, but what's happening on the left, it boils down to the issue is never the issue. The issue is all about the revolution, and like they just want to keep pushing, keep progressing. So whatever they can grab hold of that helps, become a negative and tear things down and be critical. Well, that's all it's about. It's just about division and hate to tear things down. Like I said, they'll pull for a European soccer team over our national team. They'll pull for algae over clear blue water. I mean, it is completely about just taking the other side of whatever any sort of pride in your own country would entitle you to feel like.
you talked about it, and listen. I did not watch any of it at any soccer whatsoever, and we'll I actually bet on soccer, which was the dumbest thing I ever did. I'm sorry, Sarah, because I bet it on Brazil. I was like, no way Brazil doesn't get past this. So I bet and shows further proof why I should not gamble. I bet on Brazil, and of course they lost. I didn't bet last night. But, anyways, they had an issue where there was a red card initiated or given. And I don't know the terms. It's pitch, it's not field, it's match, it's not game. I don't know. But they gave a red card to one of the American players who sounds anything but like an American player. And he got suspended for the next game. And everybody who's anybody that knows soccer, from what I've seen, said that it was a ridiculous red card. It was a foul, most likely, but a red card is insane. And you can't help but think there's some kind of shadiness going on. Well, Trump comes out and claims that he gave him a call and was like, hey, you may want to just re examine this. Lo and behold, they ended up not rescinding the red card, they suspended it to where it's be looked at a later date, perhaps. But anyway, the guy who was one of our better players ended up being able to play in the game against Belgium. And as you said, not only were people rooting against Belgium, they were upset that Trump tried to make anything happen. I don't know if he had anything to do with it, but they were upset that he had any say in the fact of wanting to get a guy for the American team to play. Can we not get behind that as Americans?
With this particular issue, it hits from so many different of the current political angles because, like you mentioned, this guy does not exactly look like nor have an American sounding name. Well, you know why? He is actually a perfect example of this whole birthright citizenship that we were trying to overturn in the Supreme Court. His mother came over here at like 7 months pregnant, and they wouldn't let her leave because of how pregnant she was. So that's why he was born here, and that's why he's technically an American citizen. All right.
Yeah.
Beyond that point, so you would think the left would love him and celebrate him for that, but they hated him because Trump was going to bat for him, and they can't agree with anything Trump does. So I don't know. But then you got the whole like Cristiano Ronaldo had two red cards overturned that would have suspended him from his final World Cup games. I mean, soccer is by far, and this is coming from a guy who would tell you the NBA is up there. Soccer is by far the most worldwide corrupt
It's not
sport
even
there
close.
is.
It's not even
I mean,
close.
it is the fixes, the faking, the injuries, all the stuff. Look,
The whole Qatar issue when they went to Qatar, like when it was 125 degrees on the field, like it was all fake.
but this particular issue with that one individual, it's hard because like I don't know that anybody knows what side to take on this because every side you take kind of puts you on a side where you go, well, I don't know, I don't want to be on the same side with those people. So like I said, part of me says he shouldn't be on the team at all because he shouldn't be an American citizen, and in which case none of this would be an issue. But I don't know. It's not unprecedented for things like this to get reviewed. It's not unprecedented for these types of changes to be made. whether or not this had anything to do with Donald Trump calling somebody or not, I can't imagine. I mean, I, I can't imagine that Donald Trump's voice carries much weight with FIFA. I mean, those just don't seem like those are politically lined organizations as far as, being a conservative or being in Trump's camp. So I don't know, man. The whole thing was a wash, but we got our brakes beat off of us anyway. So it didn't matter whether he played, you played, or I played.
Yeah, I, I, it keeps me from having to watch soccer the rest of the time, and I kind of want to get into it somewhat. But I watched. I briefly flipped over because I put money on Brazil to win, playing the Netherlands, who has basically a caveman Neanderthal out there that goes and plays. But I flipped over briefly, and I was watching Brazil, and they had they. I don't want to. I say fast break. I don't know if that's the word or not, but they were going down the court, the field, the pitch, whatever the hell. They were going down, and I was like, "Oh, here we go. We're gonna score." And then all of a sudden, somebody caught up to them, and they ended up kicking it back and going back and back. They kicked it all the way back. They were on one side of the field, down by their goal where they can score, and they ended up kicking it back to try to set something up, all the way to where they kicked back to the goalie, and then the goalie kicked it from there back. I'm like, what are we doing? I don't understand why we stopped. I'm like, I feel like we had a break. What are you doing? And it may be a strategic move that is very smart. And I just clearly don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But I'm like, let's keep attacking. Like, why are we letting up?
I lump the true soccer aficionados remind me of the people who always say the book is better than the movie. Nah, it's not. I mean, you can appreciate it, but you're just going to be in the minority. I know it's the worldwide sport, but hey, it's in America this year. It's just, you're right, dude. It's other than the occasional, like, supremely elite level matchup, it is hard to watch. I have tuned in a little bit of the World Cup. That soccer to me is like kind of like watching tennis. If it's Wimbledon or the U.S. Open, I'll catch a little bit once it gets towards the finals. But man, it's hard to watch a bunch of people, as impressive as it is athletically, to run around and essentially in circles for 90 to 100 minutes and end up with a 0-0 tie if you're lucky. And that's just not my cup of tea.
Lionel Messi is over in Kennesaw State. I saw he was practicing. I guess they're having games at the Mercedes-Benz Dome, so they were out there practicing at Kennesaw State, which I'm sure is a big crowd. I don't know the first little bit about soccer, hardly anything, but I know the names Lionel Messi and I know Cristiano Ronaldo. So
And
I can
Erling Haaland now.
Yes, that freaking Neanderthal. If I do watch it, I probably just will watch him because he is a Neanderthal. But that's about it. So, but I do appreciate and know the fact that how big worldwide that soccer is, and this is a big deal. We were the last of the host countries to be put out, so that's something to be said. And Dave Portnoy said it best. He was like, just know that if we really wanted to, we could dominate soccer. If we had a LeBron type athlete or a kid that comes up and just focuses on soccer, it's over. Our best of the best do not play soccer, but if they did, you wouldn't stand a chance. I think it would be without question.
No, and I think, as American fans, and again, if you put USA on the jersey, I'm pulling for them. I don't care what sport it is or
Mm-hmm.
whether I like the sport or not. I think as American fans, we have to be realistic on that, like you said, and just realize, hey, soccer is always going to be fourth or fifth down on the totem pole and never get our best athletes, never get our fullest commitment as a sport. And therefore, it's always going to be, you're going to get performances like this from time to time when you get on the world stage. Like this is all those people do over there. Soccer is their sport. That is what they all grow up playing. They are filtered, like their greatest athletes in the entire country are filtered towards soccer. Ours are
Yeah.
filtered towards football and basketball. I mean, and who knows what else. So yeah, it's just it will be hard for us to ever be competitive on the world stage. But I think last night was a bit of a fluke. I expected that team to have a better performance than they did. I don't know whether it's just I'm like you, I don't follow enough soccer to really understand like how momentum works or how much of that plays into a factor. But it just seemed like a game that just got out of hand and they just never could get anything going from what little bit I saw. So it's disappointing. Anytime America gets beat, which thank God we don't get beat much, but soccer we do. And anytime America gets knocked out of anything, it's a little tear shed. I'm a national pride guy. I love my country, and I was hoping we'd win it all and shock the world, but hey, we'll see them again in 4 years.
I'm sure somebody's blaming Trump
LeBron will
out
be
there
looking
for
for a
this
new
loss.
team by then too.
Yep, he might go be Miami, is what I'm hearing. LeBron, while we were gone, LeBron has opted out of Los Angeles Lakers to go title hunt again. That's why he'll never be the Michael Jordan type, because he's out there searching for teams, wanting to search for super teams, not just doing what he's got with what he's got, letting them come to him. He wants to go look for it. So that's why you'll never be Michael Jordan, LeBron. But America, I was rooting for America. We got further than I thought we probably should have, maybe in the World Cup. But some people were upset because Trump was rooting for them. They got upset and didn't want him to win. Just like Graham Plattner had an issue, multiple issues. Clearly, lady came out saying that she accused him of some sexual improprieties, shall we say, and the left lambasted this lady and said, "Hey, I'm sorry, we just can't do it. We got to win. We got to win." Well, the lady that came out with that, the reporter that reported on it, was a Republican lady. So believe all women except for when they're Republican, because another lady came out who was like, "Hey, listen, I'm a Democrat. He came out and raped me." And now they believe all women is what they say now, all because it was not a Republican lady who said it. So the hypocrisy abides. But Graham Plattner is being asked to step down yet again, not just for the Nazi tattoo. That was cool. The multiple sexual harassment suits that came out, that was cool because it was against Republican women. But now there's one against a Democratic woman, and now Chuck Schumer and Ro Khanna are out there asking them for to step down. Greg, have you seen any of this story?
I have, David. We could have had this discussion a month ago when the first allegation came out. I could have told you there's going to be more coming. There's always more coming. This is the inevitable conclusion to what was always going to happen. But the problem I have with it is the fact that, and again, this is my opinion, but I think my opinion is based in reality and some common sense. It sure seems like the Democrats were a-okay with anything and everything this guy brought to the table until they thought it might cost him winning the election.
Mm-hmm. If they thought he would win, and there's still some that are not taking. I mean, I think Stephen King, of all people, the main writer uh, up there, he's like, nope, I'm still sticking by him because he don't believe it. Which, whatever. They trying to compare the fact that we still voted for Donald Trump because of his issues that came about. Well, the difference was we never said believe all women. We did not believe E. Jean Carroll when she came out because there was too many weird things that came about and inconsistencies that came about. So we didn't believe that. So we did not vote for somebody who we believed was a sexual abuser. You're coming out saying believe all women. And when they're coming out and saying it, you're actually going to cast your vote for somebody who you're saying you believe was a sexual abuser. That's the difference.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have it both ways. I mean, the problem is the left, when they threw all the stuff with E. Jean Carroll at Trump, they had already lost all their credibility back with the Brett Kavanaugh Supreme Court hearings. Like, because they tried to, like, Brett Kavanaugh's a damn Boy Scout who's probably never done anything wrong in his life, and they tried to accuse him of all, like, it's just so status quo. It's the whole boy who cried wolf. Like, look, I'm not saying Donald Trump's a saint. I'm sure a lot of what they've thrown at him might have some elements of truth to it, but they've just lost all credibility. And to me, the Graham Plattner thing is just another example of when I see people who are willing to toe the line and defend that person up until the moment where it goes, well, now his issues might cost him the election. Let's get him out of here and try to find somebody else. I'm sorry. Look, you and I mentioned on X the other day with that couple that climbed the Empire State Building, and hey, holy shit, just seeing the images of that made my anxiety go through the roof. I cannot possibly fathom being up there in that position. But what they put up on that sign is pretty damn prophetic. I mean, until the love of power is outdone by the power of love or something along those lines. And all you can see right now coming from the left is that love of power. They will do anything, they will support anything, they are okay with anything as long as it keeps them in power.
Yep. Listen, I'd love to argue with you, but I can't because it's true. And there's some truth to that on our side as well. I mean, obviously, we will overlook some things. There's a lot of things Trump's doing right now that I'm not a fan of by no means. But you kind of, I hate to say, pick the lesser of, uh, was it lesser of good evil? What is it? What's the saying? Lesser of two evils. I can't speak. It's been a tough couple of weeks, Greg. Okay. And I had no sleep the last couple of nights. but a lesser of two evils, and that's kind of how you had to vote. And sadly, that's kind of where you're coming at. I mean, the days of voting for Carter or Reagan, which Carter has his issues, but I think you vote for two good men, at least in that situation. I don't think we have that anymore. We don't have you voting for two good men. You're voting for two people that they think can win. Reagan said it best. If somebody wants the position, you definitely should not vote for them. And now everybody's wanting these positions. They don't feel like tied into it. I want somebody to be president who doesn't really want to be president, but feel like they need to make things right.
No, I mean, and I ultimately think when when we end up with AOC as the Democratic candidate in 2028, I think that is an absolute perfect microcosm of what politics has become about. She has absolutely no substance or no real stances on anything. She just wants the fame, she wants the power, she wants the popularity, and she will essentially AOC in 2028 may become our first Instagram president because that's all she cares about.
Did we get into the previous episode about Mondami's saying to put this massive heat wave that's taking place, this heat dome as they called it, and him telling everybody to put their AC units on 78?
Well, I can tell you, if anybody tried to enforce that around here, they would find out real quickly just how much I believe in the Second Amendment because I will come armed if you put my AUC above anything over 72.
I love
And
it
that's during
because
the day. We go down to like 65 at night.
I watch, CNN a lot. Like I said, the Abby Phillips show, and they were on there going in and saying that this is ridiculous. Why are people making such a big deal about it? And the guy was like, "Hey, okay, I can tell you right now, it's not 78 in here. So if we're saying it's not a big deal, how come we're not doing it?" So he basically called him out on the hypocrisy of the fact that he said, "Go to Mondami's house and tell me if his AC's on 78." I got a feeling it's not. And at the same time they were doing that, Travis Kelsey and Taylor Swift were having like AC units booked into the Madison Square Garden as they were having their wedding take place. I promise you it wasn't 78 in there either.
You know, I'm not a big Travis and Taylor fan, so let me preface this comment by that. But the absolute arrogance to have your wedding at MSG the day before July 4th, like, come on, during the massive heat wave that's already wrecking New York. So now you're going to take all those resources, all those cops and public service officials that now have to deal with that shit on top of all the other stuff going on in New York. I mean, couldn't they have flown somewhere remote and just drove everybody or taken everybody out there? To me, that was just it again from Taylor and Travis. It's not in any way a surprise, but that's as hey, look at me, let's make everything about us as we possibly can, but respect
Doing
our
it
privacy.
the day before on the biggest, you know, 4th of July of our lifetime is 250. That's pretty dang big. The biggest to do it then is pretty ridiculous in the biggest city in America. That is bad. So the timing of that is pretty bad. I don't have a problem with you having it in Madison Square Garden, but the day before the 4th of July when everybody's trying to come in the city and all that, that is a little bit ridiculous. I didn't even think about that till you said that. But them having a big wedding, it is what it is. It's fine. I don't hate Taylor like everybody else. My wife is not a Taylor Swift fan, and I'm like, she seems like a good chick. She seems like a nice girl. I don't see the big hate on that. I don't know Travis Kelsey enough. He's a damn good tight end. I'll give you that. But I don't get the hate on Taylor Swift. But having this look on the semi-quincentennial, which I'm getting pretty good at saying, anniversary of our nation, that is pretty bad now that you say it on the 4th of
You know,
July.
I don't know that, and again, I can only speak for myself. I don't know that I would qualify what anybody feels towards Taylor Swift as hate. I don't know that, in order to hate somebody, I think you have to believe something is genuine and real about them that you hate. I think that's the problem is most of us look at Taylor Swift and just go, there's nothing real about her or her life in any way, shape, or form. It never has been. Like, from day one, she has always been like on this script that was written out of Hollywood. It's easy. I'm not entirely sure she didn't make a deal with the devil or something way back when, because like everything she touches turns to gold. She's an absolute like if you hate her, you are only hating on her success
I
because she's
will
not done
not
anything wrong.
I will not sit here and let you besmirch the name of that sweet little girl who sang about Tim McGraw. Okay, she's a sweet girl. I, I don't get the hate either. My wife's not a fan, but some music I like of hers. But I think she's a pretty good representative for a girl. Yeah, she's had a bunch of boyfriends. Okay, whatever. But she's not going around acting all floozy and slutty and all that. I think listen, I think me and Taylor could hang out. I think she's a good chick. But
I think when you compare her to some of the other younger female role models from
yes,
the generation, then yes, you're 100% right. It could be a lot worse. And I don't have any hatred for her. I just look at her and you just wonder, does she ever have a moment where she can just sit there and like embrace reality of her own thoughts and her own, because it's like everything around her is set, like it's all a Hollywood production.
she has been a true success story and to the levels of unbelievable. I mean, just astronomical, Michael Jackson like in the way she does it. She's the Michael Jackson for females. So you got to give her props there. So I don't know. I don't hate her. I like her. But Travis and Taylor, congratulations on your wedding. I hope you have kids, and I hope you make weddings cool again. Her influence, she has a hella influence on a lot of people. So if she can influence young girls to want to get married and have kids, I think that's a great thing. Use your influence for good.
Do we want to be cold and callous enough to put an over under on this nuptials?
I think this is it. I think this is it. She married a real man's man. Although the way he's been dressing a little bit lately, I'm like, come on, bro. What's the deal here? You're tight end.
I,
Let's don't
I,
dress
I
like that.
I'll set your number at 42 months, 3.5 years.
I think it's going. I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna take the over, Greg, because I think there's gonna be a kid involved very shortly, and that's gonna buy you at least 5 years. I think. It's hard to get divorced under 5 years old with a kid. I would imagine, but
I think, and again, if I'm playing devil's advocate here, I think you may be right on the simple fact that I think the way everything in her life is scripted, I think they may end up like the Obamas. They'll stay married and just hate each other and not be together, but they will stay married just for the image.
I think that is gonna be the case. I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for love, Greg. I love love.
Always.
How dare you? Well, that's it. Quick show. It's gonna be tough till school's back in. Listen, school cannot come soon enough. I think they're listening, but these kids are driving me damn crazy. Okay, this is nuts. Taylor and Travis, call me before you want to have kids. Okay, we'll talk about it. But school cannot get here soon enough. But that's it. Episode 43. Episode George W. Baby. Uh, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. You can't. You fool me. You can't fool me again. That does not help his not being smart thing. That's one of the funniest ones. I like that.
Yeah, and that is not one of the more like complicated American colloquialisms. That was pretty, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. It's pretty straightforward. I don't know how he jacked that one up so bad.
As a guy who got wrong the lesser of two evils just a second ago, I can't say anything. I can't say a word. But that's it, episode 43. Thanks for checking along with us, guys. Sorry that the delay happened. It's been a rough couple weeks. Greg is on the mend. We will be praying for Greg that his surgery will not be involved and he will bounce back quickly and get back on that softball field. Do not get back on that softball
No,
field.
we're retired.
Stick with that. Hang up the proverbial cleats there, Gregory. But Greg, as always, leave us with a good word, my friend.
All right, well, y'all do us a favor if we and I'm gonna trust David's numbers. If we get to the 200 mark on likes across Apple, Spotify, and YouTube, I'll rock a straight stash for a little while.
Mhm.
But other than that, guys, as always, get in your Bible, say your prayers, love one another, and tell the truth. God bless.
Yeah, bring back the stash, baby. Peace.